Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to see you, Naomi. I hope you're thriving. Welcome to the summer July session of Money Matters and our Student Investors Club. So good to see you. So my name is Nina Uguomo, and I am the founder and CEO of Student Dream. And basically what we've been doing, Naomi, is really just helping students to win with money, right? Because there's no reason that you need to wait until you've graduated to win with money. You don't have to wait until you're in your late 20s, 30s, and 40s to start thinking about how to manage the money you have. But we want to really help you get started early and help you get started now with managing your money and learning how to win with money, because the biggest resource that you have is your time. And so what Student Dream has been doing is training students of color to build wealth through training and content around personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship. Okay, and so we have these monthly meetings, hopefully actually bi-weekly, just check-ins to really make sure that you are making those small steps, those consistent steps towards becoming wealthy. And we define wealth as earning and saving more than you spend with integrity, joy, and generosity, right? We really want you to feel financially free. We want you to feel like an eagle, right? When it comes to how you're managing money, we want to feel like every day is a Friday for you when it comes to managing money, right? We want you to feel like your favorite song. And so that's why I started this organization, 12 years ago now, really just to help students learn how to win with money, because most students struggle with money. And so we help you win with money. All right. And so this Investors Club, this is really just you taking that time to invest in yourself. And this is giving you an opportunity just to check in and figure out, hey, where am I at? What are some of the questions I have? So my story, I've been helping students manage money for the last 12 years. I've helped them get out of debt, save their first $1,000, save their next $5,000, get jobs that align with their needs and their interests, start businesses. And so I want to do that same thing for you. All right. And these check-in sessions are really just to give you the inspiration, the coaching, and the accountability that you need to make those steps forward. All right, Naomi. So my goal here today is really just to teach you and talk about how do we win with money generally, and then how do you win with money specifically, depending on where you're at. And so Naomi, I'd love to, since it's just you and me right now, I would love to just hear a bit more about you, like where you're from, what brought you here today, where you're at in school, and we can start there.
Sure. So I just clicked on like I'm not really in school. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so in terms of my money journey, although I didn't graduate college, I have a corporate work history, so I'm a product manager. Currently I'm laid off,
Nice.
so I'm just trying to get my next job. So basically in terms of money where I'm at, I paid off whatever student loan debt that I had. So in terms of that,
Nice.
good, yeah. But during that time I like did default. Um, and so it did impact my credit score.
Okay.
Basically, I added myself on my mom's credit score, so it like raised it up a bit. So right now it's like a
Smart.
yeah, so it's like a 700, 7, 10, 20, kind of like that. And one thing I'm curious about is how do I get it as high as possible? And
Okay.
how do I get rid of like the old so I found out like you can like ask them to get rid of like, your old debt or like delinquency. And so I did like reach out and try to do that through like Experian. Haven't
Mm-hmm.
really do anything, so I'm not really sure how to get rid of like, the old debt from my credit history. And in general, like yeah, and another thing is just like not allowing lifestyles creep while you're like, you know, increasing your pay. And lastly, just like negotiating your job offer. So yeah.
Come on. Wait, so you said a couple things at the end. how do I raise my credit score? How
Mhm.
do I remove the delinquency from my account?
Correct, yeah. How do I remove the delinquency? How do I keep from having lifestyle creep? And
Okay.
yeah, lastly, how to like negotiate, like try to get the best pay possible.
How to keep from having lifestyle creep and negotiating my salary.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Okay, this is great. So to start, well, tell me, how did you find out about the event tonight, the session?
I got an email on my email list and I thought it was interesting and
Yeah.
signed up.
Okay, awesome. You must have been, were you ever a part of SYEP?
Ah, yes, I was.
Okay, so you must have been with Student Dream then, if we had your email.
Probably that. I don't
Okay,
know.
years
Yeah,
ago. Because
yeah.
when did you graduate?
I didn't graduate, but right now I'm 20.
Okay, you're 25? Oh, hold on, it came in and out.
Yeah, 25.
Okay, perfect. Awesome, awesome. I'm excited for you. And product manager is a great role. That's great. Okay, so to start with the credit score. So how do you raise your credit score is the first question?
Correct. Yes. How do I raise my?
Yeah. So there are a couple of ways. The main way, like one of the quickest ways, you did a good thing by getting on to your mom's account, especially if she has a higher credit score, because her her credit worthiness is going to apply to you. So that's a great step, becoming that authorized user on her account. And then the second way for you to do it is to make sure that you are only using about between 5 to 7% of your credit limit. So every month, let's say if your credit score is, or if your credit limit is $1,000, you don't want to use more than 5% of the card. Does that make sense? So 5% of 1,000 is what, $50 or yeah. So you don't want to use more than $50, a maximum $100, because what goes into your credit score, I believe it's like 30% of your credit score is your credit usage.
Wow, I did not know that. That's like a very small amount compared to like the limit that you're given.
Exactly. And so they take that into account. And so when you are, and you also want to make sure you pay off your credit card about a week before the actual due date, because that's when the statement closes and that's when they're going to report it back to the agency. So you may think, let's say your credit bill is due at the end of this month on the 30th. You want to make sure you pay that off at least on like the 20th. Because if the statement closes on the 20th, that's when they're going to report whatever your balance is to the agency. So you could pay off the balance in full by the 30th. Let's say you have a $500 that's due, and you pay it off on the 30th on the date it's due. But because the statement closed earlier, it'll show off that you still had like $500, even though you wouldn't be penalized. That's the score that they'll send to the credit agency.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So you want to make sure you're paying it early so that you actually making the full payment, it positively affects your score. But those are like the two biggest things: credit usage. So don't it's funny because it's like have a credit card but don't really use it. But then if you do use it, just make sure you pay it off in full about a week before the actual deadline, so that it shows that your usage is low. So those are like the biggest things that you can do. And then obviously paying it off in full. If you want to, depending on where your credit's at, you can open up another line of credit. So for example, what did I do recently? So I have one main credit card that I use, and I opened that up as a rewards card. So I got some of those bonus points, but there is an annual fee attached to that. And then I had opened up another credit card that I used to pay rent. I only use it for maybe a few months because there was a small monthly fee. It was only $5, but I didn't want to have to pay that extra $5 every month. But one of the things that also will increase your credit score is the lines of credit that you have. So if you open up a new card, that would show up favorably on your credit score.
What would happen if you like open up a bunch of credit cards but you don't use them? Will it?
It's fine. It won't affect you. Just don't close it, because another part of your credit score and your credit worthiness, sorry, will be the length of time you've had credit, because essentially the agencies want to see, okay, this person has, 10 years experience managing debt in a healthy way. So as soon as you close your credit card, then all that account history goes away. And one of the metrics that they use to determine your credit score is your account history. So because of that, you want to keep the cards open. So for me, for example, I really only use one credit card, but I have maybe 2 other cards open, but I don't use them. But it still shows that I have that credit history. And because I have that long credit history, that means I'm a good borrower.
Awesome. Those are very helpful tips.
Yeah.
If I have a credit card for let's say for 10 years and I haven't used it, I just kept it to like increase my limit. Would I get a fee or it's like nothing will happen?
No fee. No fee. Yeah.
Awesome.
As long as the balance is 0, no fee. Just keep it open.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah. And then to remove a delinquency from your account, so that actually will stay on your account for, I think it's 7 years. But as soon as the 7 years passes, it'll go away.
Does good credit or good loans stay on your credit score for 7 years or do that stay forever?
I'd have to look that up. Let me get back to you on that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure like all credit that you have, whether it's all forms, so whether it's a credit card, whether it's a student loan, whether it's medical debt, it'll stay on your credit history for that period.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Because the whole idea is just, it's your credit history, whether it was student loan credit, personal loan credit, whatever form, it just stays on your credit history. It's all a part of your history.
Got it. Yeah. And my third question was like, how do you keep from having lifestyle creep?
Ooh, girl, it is. Let me just write this down real quick. Yeah, so how to keep from having lifestyle creep. So essentially, this is unique because it really matters from person to person. I always emphasize this big point, and I would say it's really helped me to know that personal finance is personal, right? Personal finance is personal. Personal finance is personal. Personal finance is personal. So because personal finance is personal, it's going to vary. Like what is lifestyle, what affects my motivation and my behavior will be very different from what affects your lifestyle and your behavior. We all have different triggers. We all have different histories. So for me, it may be that I'm just feeling really stressed out at work, and my coping mechanism is to go out and buy some sweets, right? So that can be at $6 every single night. And I know specifically, right? $6 every single night. But when I'm not stressed out, right? When I'm balanced, when I'm making time to connect with my friends, and really refreshing myself, I don't even think about eating those sweets, right? But when I've really kind of sat down and thought about and been able to process my emotions, then I'm able to have healthy coping mechanisms instead of, going to food therapy or retail therapy or whatever your form is that can oftentimes be associated with spending money. So I always start with those personal, emotional, really trying to be more self-aware of when am I making some of these lifestyle creep purchase decisions, how am I feeling when I make those? So that really helps. And then secondly is having a budget, right? So that's, people can always tell you to do the action first, but you really have to, and it's helpful to be aware of the emotions beforehand. And so number one, being aware of that, like, why am I making this purchase? Do I really want it? Do I really need it? And then number two, making a budget. So the budget will literally tell you what works. And if the math is not mathing, then you got to make another decision. But there's been so many times when I have sat down and made a budget and felt so much more relief when I realized, oh my gosh, I actually can afford this, and it's actually not a lifestyle creep. Or I realized, okay, I actually cannot afford this. I can still kind of splurge a bit, but I have to maybe save $50 a month to buy that dress that I want instead of just spending $200 on it now. And so really having that budget helps me be disciplined. Also, you being aware of what your values and priorities are. So I'm going to show you something. This is a bit convoluted, but I think this will be helpful. Let me figure out how to share my screen. So I have my own document, and I think it's part of your budget is you having a vision, but you also really need to have a vision for your money and a plan to get there. So, and just your priorities. So here's something that I put together just for myself. And this is basically, so I have this whole big portfolio of things when it comes to my money, and it's called my, can you see it? Can you see this portfolio? I'm trying to figure out which screen I'm
No, I
sharing.
only see your background screen.
Okay, let me actually share what I want to share. This is not it. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right. So yeah, so this is what I have. And basically, you'll see that I have a couple of things. So I have my monthly budget. I have like my values. So it's helpful to always lead with your values. And so I lead with like, who do I want to become with the financial decisions that I'm making? Because when the book Atomic Habits talks about how do you really form healthy habits, and it emphasizes that yes, you can have goals, but it's better to have systems, because systems will help you achieve your goals. And part of the way of creating those systems is thinking about who do you want to become, and how do you identify with who you want to become, because that's going to make it easier to do the actions associated with who you want to become. And so for me, I always lead with my values. I say, I want to be generous. I want to be financially and professionally free. I want to be a good and faithful steward of what's been given to me. And I want to be self-controlled, right? And an investor and wealthy. And for me, wealthy is financially healthy, where I am earning and saving more than I spend with joy, integrity, and generosity. And that looks like me pursuing my entrepreneurial pursuits. I'm an investor, I'm a speaker, I'm a reader, I'm an author, I'm a coach. And so to do that, right, how do I become that person? I need to follow my monthly budget. I need to pay off debt, and I have those big numbers. I need to earn this amount, right? I need to build it out, this emergency fund, build out another emergency fund, max out my IRA and HSA, invest for retirement, build a 6-month emergency, increase my credit score, right? So then you have some other stuff. And so having that goal and a plan, right, that gives you vision. And then from there, you set up all of your budget, right? And so here you'll see, like, I set up all my budget. I know all the different things that are coming in. I know all the things that I'm paying, and you can work from there. So really having that vision, because when like right now, I know that I'm going to start it's super important for me to hit some of my emergency fund goals, right? I just finished paying off all my student loans. My student loans were forgiven, right? And now I have more money to save and invest. And it's like my number one priority and goal is to just max out some investments and be a bit more aggressive there. And there's a specific number associated with that. And so because that number is now in my budget, whatever else is left goes towards my other expenses. And so that really helps me to say no. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Having the vision. I think if I had a clear vision, I think I'd better understand how to allocate my money or like find out my money goals. One thing
Yeah.
I have a question on is so like I think the contribution limit to like 401k or IRA like this year is like 23,000. I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But sometimes
7,000 for IRA.
oh really?
For
7.
but for 401k, it's different. Traditional and Roth, it's different.
Oh, what's the difference between those two?
So the difference between them is really a tax difference. So with one, you're taxed once you withdraw from the account, but for the other, you're taxed before you withdraw from the account.
I see. So 401k, are you taxed before or after?
401k on a Roth, uh, not Roth IRA. For 401k, it depends if you are, what am I looking for? For a traditional, so
Oh gosh, there's different types.
yeah. There's a traditional 401k and a Roth 401k. So the short answer is that saving pre-tax money in a traditional plan is easier now during your working years, right? But saving post-tax money in a Roth 401k can earn you greater wealth for your retirement years. That's like a whole nother topic.
Okay,
But at the very least, if you have access to a investment account, just make sure you invest in it.
okay.
Right now, so are you currently investing? Do you still have from your previous employer, do you have your investment account?
Yeah, so with my previous employer, I put like a certain percentage of my income, I think like 15%. I try to pick a high number.
Yeah.
I put it in my I'm not sure if it was a 401k or Roth IRA or what, but I put it somewhere.
Okay. So we definitely want to know that. So part of like really winning with money
Mhm.
and is managing it. That's the hardest. That's the part that we don't learn growing up. And so we want to know what we have, what's going on. So I'll give you that homework assignment to find out what type of
Sure.
investment account you had. Yeah, because that'll be really important for
Sure.
tax purposes, for knowing what you can max out, etc.
Makes sense, yeah. And I guess this is more like a personal finance question, but sometimes I wonder if I should like max out whatever like investment account I have versus should I just save in a high yield savings account so I can save up to buy like something big like that would return passive income like a small business or something. Because if I do
Yeah.
one thing, I feel like I won't save up for like the business it'll take longer to get there. But if I don't put it in my retirement account right now, I lose out on compound interest. So I'm confused onto how to decide for that.
Yeah, and it all comes back down to what your goals are. Again, so if you are, let me actually stop sharing. It all comes down to your goals. So 1 second. All right, we're good. Yeah, so it all comes back to your goals. I always say like, man, because there's short-term goals, there's long-term goals, and for anybody who's a part of Student Dream, we want you to be financially healthy, and that means investing is a requirement because in order to be financially healthy, you need to be saving regularly and investing regularly. And the more you can invest, the higher, more money you can make. And so let me show you something. So it really depends on your goals. Because I would ask you, if I were to ask you, hey, Naomi, what are your short-term financial goals? Where do you want to be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now financially?
Um, I don't think I have a timeline, but what I really want is like 6 months to a year emergency savings and something that generates passive income. Not fully passive income, maybe like I don't know, like a laundromat or something.
Okay.
Lofty, yeah.
Okay. And I would challenge you to be even more specific with that, right? So you said I want a 6 to 12 month emergency fund. By when? When do you want that? Give me a specific month, date, year.
Whenever I start my new job, like 6 months into it, I want to have saved up like 6 month emergency fund.
I'm gonna challenge you a little further. Regardless of your job,
Oh,
that
okay.
you started, give me a specific month, day, and year.
Okay,
'Cause
so by January 1st of 2025, I want to save up 6 months of emergency fund.
and how much is that emergency fund? Because we
Let's
need to be so specific with the number, and I'll show you why.
let's do 18,000.
18,000. All right. Perfect. So that means, right, the January is what, 6 months from now?
Mhm.
18 divided by 6, that means we want to save an average of $3,000 a month,
Mhm.
right? And so even with goals, I'm a big dreamer. I literally started an organization called Student Dream, right? So yeah, so I'm for dreaming big, and we want to start small. So now that you know your stretch goal, your target is $3,000 a month, you want to be super diligent and focused in hitting that number July, August, September, October, November, December, January, or getting at least as close to that number as possible, right? Because it's going to help you maybe pick up a side job in the interim before you get that dream job that you're targeting. It's going to help you to prioritize other costs and expenses. And so if you know that, hey, my stretch goal is 3,000, if I were to have a job, well, if not having a job, what do I want to be making? What's the minimum amount I want to save? Right? Because sometimes it's good to have that range to know I need to save at minimum, right? For me, it's like I need to save at minimum $400 a month. My target for where I want to be is what, like 2,000, but minimum it's 400. And that makes me move around everything else, you know? So to make sure that even if I can't make the full progress that I want, I know that I'm at least hitting the minimum threshold that I need.
Got it. That makes sense.
Okay. And then you can adjust all your other line items from there. And so now I'm going to show you this. You are 25 years old, right? When do you want to retire?
Um, can I give a number or realistic?
Just dream big. This is student dream, whatever comes to mind.
40.
You said what?
40.
40. All right, perfect. So 40 years old, right? So that's 15 years. So see, we're putting length in time in years. And then what's your initial investment? Do you know how much you've currently invested?
So far I believe it's something like 20,000.
Oh, that's great. 20,000.
Yeah, I started young. Mhm.
And then monthly contribution. How much can you afford to invest every month?
Mm,
And we can just do right now where you're at.
Oh, right now I'm not putting anything in it because I don't have any income coming in.
Okay.
Um, when I get so if for my next job, because of my experience, I'm looking for like 100K job. So like
Mm-hmm.
I guess like doing the 20, 30, 50, 20% of 100K is 20,000 divided by 12. I guess like $800 per month.
Okay. And then average interest rate for investments is 7%. Okay. And so here's what we're going to do. So by 15 years, you'll have just say 300,000. Okay.
Mhm.
So you've out of your own pocket, you've put in 160,000, but that's the value of it is 300,000. And so if you said you wanted to retire by 40,
Yeah.
300,000 is not enough to retire, right? For Lord willing, right? You're living for another 50 years after that,
Mhm.
more. So we need more money. And because we need more money, we need to invest more. So let's double that and let's just see, hey, what happens if I'm able to contribute 2,000 a month, making 100K? You can definitely do that. It's going to now turn into, it's going to triple.
Uh,
You see that?
mhm.
So that's why it's so important. Let's say, again, if you, hey, you have your business coming in, you start your business is a success, we'll double that. You have 5,000.
Wow.
Boom. Now we're talking.
Wow.
You see that? So what does this tell you, right? After doing these calculations, what actions do you see need to be taken for you to hit this number?
The more I put in now and consistently, the higher it multiplies in terms of the return.
Yeah. And what else? How are you going to be able to hit that 5,000 monthly contribution?
I would 100% have to have like a second side hustle or job.
Or a business,
Yeah, business. Yeah.
right? So one of the things I always encourage our students to get into, I mean, hey, think in terms of hours. You want to make the highest return on investment you can from the hours you're working, right? If I'm working 40 hours, I'd rather get paid $250 an hour as opposed to $40 an hour. So we
Mhm.
definitely want to make sure that wherever you work for, like you're building out those skills that people are willing to pay that much for. You're finding the right benefits packages that are going to put you into that bracket. You're networking. You're really getting those jobs that are going to pay you the maximum hourly rate that you can get. And so that's one when it comes to jobs. But then also, I want you to start thinking in units, right? Because there's only 24 hours in a day. Even if we're working 24 hours, and even if I'm making $250 an hour, right? 250 times 24, that's a limit, right? There's only so much I can make from that. But the number of units you can sell is unlimited, right?
Yeah.
You could sell 24 units of a product that costs $100. You could sell 200 units of a product that costs $100, 500 units.
Mhm.
And so that's when my favorite area, probably one of my favorite areas of finance comes into mind. It's thinking as an entrepreneur, what's a product that you could create, right? Maybe you create a soda or an online class or something,
Mhm.
right? Just start to think in terms of units because that's unlimited. Could be something as simple as a pen. It could be something as simple as a mug. That's why you see so many of these artists and influencers, they have products because even though they're getting money from sponsorships, they can also get money from selling products. People
That
are
makes
looking for cups, people are looking for pens. Why not support someone who I connect with? And so there's plenty of people who can connect with Naomi, Hassan, right? Or whether it's not your personal brand, but just a brand that you create.
Yeah.
So that is super important. And it's super important to start thinking about that now. But the lowest hanging fruit is going to be with that job
Mhm.
and making sure that you are networking and really building your professional relationships because that's going to open up so many doors and make it a lot easier on the job search.
Makes sense. Yeah, one of the problems I'm having right now, like, my parents are immigrants and I'm first gen, like in
Yeah.
work in corporate. A lot of the roles I notice now like are coming in through referrals or they're hiring internal. So as someone without like a connection into these companies, I have a hard time going in when there's like 1,000 people applying to one job.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did you go to school?
So I went to University of Buffalo upstate. I didn't finish though. Afterwards, I did several boot camps. So I did Perscolas for cybersecurity,
Oh, great.
Europe for software engineering, and then after I got like my internship job, that's when I started paying off my student debt and any money extra. I live with my parents, so any extra money I had, I did like self-paid boot camp, so Columbia University Product Management Boot Camp, Skill Hat Product Management Boot Camp, Skill Hat Accelerator, all paid out of pocket, and then now I'm doing digital marketing, Udacity nano degree. So I'm like trying to build up like those years that I didn't do in college, but in like boot camps.
Okay, okay. So, how do I break this down? So I would say you want to, like, who are all the contacts that you made at that program? Who were the speakers? Who were your colleagues, your classmates? Because you definitely want to leverage that,
I see.
right? Because, and have those conversations, because those are the people that's going to make it 1,000 times easier to land these jobs.
That makes sense. Yeah, I didn't think about networking back then, so I didn't really connect with them, but I'm sure if I search on LinkedIn, I'll find them.
Yeah. Yeah. Do that, man. Do that.
Nelly.
Okay. Because that's going to be your first step. Having those coffee chats, that's going to make it the job of 50 million times easier, the search. And then do you think you'll be able to finish school?
Um,
What's your
Once
thoughts
I'm
here?
done with this boot camp, I was thinking about using Sophia Education, where like
Mm-hmm.
you pay $90 a month and then like you finish as many credits as you want. I want to do that for like equivalent of associate's degree credits, and then there's this online college program called like I think it's called Duet. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so over there, like you choose your progress and it's project based. So hopefully finishing college there or in Brooklyn College. I want to do project based because I didn't stop learning. I continued to learn.
Of
So
course.
yeah, so by project based, like I don't have to read all the textbooks front to back. Like I can like use the experience I already have to finish the projects.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's great. And it's just helpful just because of the game of corporate America.
Mhm.
Um, the game is about relationships and credentials.
Mhm.
So you just never want anything to hold you back,
Yeah,
right? And so that's why I'm like, I definitely encourage you by any means possible, try to
Mhm.
finish that degree because there's resources there, and then you just don't have any roadblocks. You know, that there just can't be a reason for someone to be like, oh, well, this person has a degree, this person doesn't. You know, you just want to try to
definitely,
remove any perceived roadblocks if possible. Again, if
definitely.
not, like again, depending on whatever the circumstances are, just leverage the heck out of that network in the meantime.
That totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so that's going to be your big thing when it comes to the job hunt. Really leverage that network, and you are in all those programs. So
Mhm.
especially since you're unemployed right now, I would prioritize like I would prioritize connecting with people at these companies over applying to the jobs. So I would do like 80-20 rule. If there's I would connect with 8 people and apply to 2 roles.
I
Oh,
see. I never
you
heard of
know,
that rule, but sounds something.
yeah. 80-20 rules, like 80% of your effort leads to, you want to put 80% of your effort on 20% of the tasks
Yeah,
to just focus in, or people say 80% of the work done in an organization is completed by 20% of the people. It's just the balance. Where do you want to balance your effort, your energy towards outcomes?
got it. That makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a good tip to apply.
Yeah. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else?
And lastly, it's like negotiating salary.
Yeah. So that helps. I mean, definitely always negotiate salary, being able to speak to your credentials, your experience, um, comparable roles. That always helps. I'm not an expert when it comes to negotiating salary, so I'll probably bring somebody in to speak to that. But by the very least, like doing your research to know what people are making at comparable companies and roles and places, and always negotiate. Number one, know what is being paid out in the market at
Mhm.
similar companies and in similar roles, um, and make the ask.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes
and just
sense.
have the examples to point to.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So we need you to create a vision, man. So looks like that's the big like take home. Create a vision, right? Really, what does financial wealth look like to you specifically? What are you, if you were wealthy in your vision of what wealthy is, where are you living? Who are you with? What are you doing? What does your time look like? Where are you working? So if someone were to ask me like financial, and I was talking about this with to one of my best friends, and I was like, yeah, man, like I would be doing jujitsu every month, right? That's a $250 expense every month. I would be going to therapy twice a week, right? That's $500 a week. So that's $2,000 a month. I would be traveling to a country every single month, right? That's probably like $2,000 a trip. I would be giving away money, maxing out my board contributions on the nonprofit board that I'm a part of, and then some. So that's at least what, $5,000 a year. I'd be, investing what, it's like $5,000 a month, saving $5,000 a month, investing in a home. There's so much, giving money away. Yeah, and so that takes that. There's a number associated with all of that. And so you really, once you get clear on that vision of what you want to do, who you're with, when you're doing it, what you're doing, you start to attach a number to that. And yeah, and so really get clear on that, what that vision is for you, start to work your way backwards. And then from there, you can start to put together your budget. Again, depending on where you're at now, I'd say while you're looking for, it's so important to have income. So, and there's work is work, especially, your family's an immigrant family. My family's an immigrant family. It's like, do what you got to do. So yes, go after that product manager role, but just to have some money coming in, I would encourage you just to get a job, right? Even if that means, hey, even if it means something that's different from what you'd like to be doing. It's summertime. There's a bunch of like summer roles hiring, temp role,
Yeah.
barista, Amazon. There's no shame in that. Like just to have some income going in, it adds structure to your day. It can be flexible, and it just gives you something to work with. So unless you're receiving unemployment, that's a little different. But I always encourage people like just have a job to have something coming in, you know? So I would encourage you to like just try to get anything, because a lot of times I see on LinkedIn people posting, oh, I'm out of work, and I get it, but it's like, yo, Starbucks is hiring, hotels are hiring, retail's hiring. There's no shame in that, like, to at least just bring something in while you're still searching.
That makes sense. Yeah, and it's probably going to give like service experience or like dealing with like clients experience.
Yeah. And I promise you could probably find something that's related to what you're interested in, but definitely go to like, because Per Scholas, all those orgs, they have alumni. I would assume they have alumni no programming or alumni folks who can help you there, but definitely leverage that as well.
Sure, definitely.
And then, yeah, so you have some homework to do. Am I right?
Definitely. Yep.
All right. So get to it, and I'll see you in, I believe, 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We'll have our next investors club. And if there's anyone you think would benefit from this, definitely share Student Dream with them. That's my ask. If there is what's it called? Any questions you have, like definitely let me know. How was this time? This 4:30 to 5 time for you?
For me, it was good because I don't work during this time.
Yeah.
Some people I think that might benefit from this that I know of, well, they're my age, so
Okay.
yeah, I'm not sure if they would do this time.
Okay. What do you think would be a good time that would work?
For them, I'm not sure. I have to ask.
Yeah.
If they're working from home, then probably maybe this time works. I have to ask.
Okay. Yeah, let me know because I always want to make the program better and accessible to everyone. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we just had a great session, and even as you're asking me, I'm like, man, that's really good information. I wish I knew that, back in the day. And I just want as many people as possible to benefit from this. So for
Sure.
everyone who will be seeing some of this the playback of this recording, Student Dream, we have our investor club every other week, bi-weekly, 4:30 to 5:30. And it's an opportunity for you to ask any money questions that you have, get your questions answered, and just start to create that vision that you need, that you want for your life and for your money, because we need a vision to actually thrive and succeed. So we are here to serve you. Naomi, how do you feel after the first session? What are your thoughts? What did you about it?
I've learned a lot, like not using more than like 5% of my credit limit. And I'm excited to like do the vision and just start putting things in practice.
Come on. Ooh, 25. You 25, girl. If I knew this when I was not 25, Naomi. I'm excited. I'm excited. We're gonna see you get that job. We're gonna see you hit that savings goal. I don't forget about that January 2025. I got you on record, Naomi, with that January
All
2025 goal.
excited.
I'm a praying woman. So we're gonna pray about that. We're gonna work towards that, and we will see some fruit. All
Right, thank you so much.
right, Naomi. We'll be in touch.
Bye.
All right, good night. Bye-bye.